MiaAConference.com.
Welcome back to Metro Sports Talk. We are talking MIAA football in this segment. That's why this guy is out here, Nick Jacobs, in to talk about all of that. Right. CMSU fans just got a little more excited. They perked up out there in Emporia State, just to name a couple of the teams that we are going to talk about a little bit today. But really, first of all, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
to
thanks for having
us.
me.
Educate us all on MIAA football.
And at least I got you instead of Schaefer.
That's kind of the common theme here today. Notice that. They like me. They don't like McSchaefer. I'll let you figure that one out at home. All right, a lot of local teams showing up in the top 25 Division II coaches poll. Let's take a look at that and tell us just a little bit about some of the teams that are making a splash around here.
Now, when you take a look here, number 2, you have Northwest, which is at 2-0. They're coming off a national championship appearance last year. At number 7, you have Pitt State, who is also 2-0. This week, they'll travel to Missouri Western. Number 19, you have CMSU, which is also 2-0, played some cupcake teams. You have Missouri Western, which has moved up from 31 to 23. And then Washburn, which went down from 15 last week to 25.
They really did. They fell 10 spots with that loss, but they have another game coming up this week at CMSU at number 19th ranked team. So tell us a little about what's Washburn really going to have to work on and to get this done.
Now, with Washburn, you have a thing very unfortunate last week. They lost to Western Washington out there. It was 16-13. They lost 2 seconds left in the game on a 40-yard field goal. They had a lot of opportunities, and unfortunately, they did miss them because they had penalties and 3 turnovers. Jordan Brewer was 330 yards passing. 214 of those were to Winnetonka grad Sam Sissom, and they have not won in Warrensburg since 1995. They unfortunately right now have an average rushing game, which is what is going to hurt them against CMSU.
Now, CMSU, you mentioned the cupcake teams, 2-0. Luckily, they're 2-0 after cupcake teams, but what are they really going to struggle with?
Well, with CMSU, the fact that they haven't even played a game yet is what is going to hurt them, because the MIAA is a whole different level when you take a look at it. Now, with CMSU, as we mentioned, they played 2 cupcake teams. They played Dakota State last week, won by 50-0. Then they shut out Lincoln the week before, 78-0. Now, Toby Carodi in the past game was 10-10 for 170 yards and 3 TDs, and he was out before the first quarter was even over, which tells you how bad it was. Now, they have not played a full game, which is what is going to wear on the starters, while Washburn has actually had somewhat of a test. Now, their special teams is what sets CMSU apart and will be the big difference this upcoming weekend.
Okay, another big matchup. Pitt State, the 7th-ranked team, which you may have remembered us talking about, and Missouri Western State, both 2-0. So this ought to be a good one. What's clicking right now for Pitt State?
Well, with Pitt State, it's their offense and running back, Jermaine Race. Now, he is somewhat impressive right now. He had over 1,800 yards last year, as we mentioned last week. But unfortunately, he has had mono, which is what has made him look sluggish, and not the same Jermaine Race that could rush for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in a game. Now, Pitt State has a great offensive line to block for him, which is what has made him great. Now, the key for them this weekend against Missouri Western will be Ryan Meredith, the All-American defensive end, who will take on the left tackle's blind side. So the guy that will surprise him is quarterback Matt Smith, who is somewhat like Neil Philpott, which is what has excited Pitt State. Now, Missouri Western is currently 2-0. The problem with them right now is their quarterback, Michael Burton, has a shoulder. His shoulder got separated, the non-throwing shoulder, and they will have the backup quarterback, who has been extremely untested, in Matt Landis. Now, lastly, you have Jermaine White, which will be the key for Missouri Western, because he went over 200 yards against Pitt State last season, and more than likely will do it again.
So is it a game-time decision then with Michael Burton, or is he definitely out?
Yes, it is currently game time for right now.
So, so those opposing defenses can't really plan too well. All right, our top-ranked team, Division II school in this area, Northwest Missouri State, also 2-0. Truman State, they're on the road, but the Truman State doesn't have a win yet this year.
That is true. Now, Truman State, unfortunately, does not have a win, but the thing that makes this game special is the Hickory Stick. This will be the 71st time that these two teams play for this Hickory Stick. Truman currently leads by 42-25 in this. Now, the game is always close. In 2004, Northwest was 8-0, Truman was 0-8. Northwest had to win with 30 seconds left in the game, 45-42. That explains the rivalry between them. Now, Northwest is 2-0, number 2. Oman right now is averaging 85 yards a game, which is very poor for Northwest, because they need to be averaging at least 120 to get what they need done against the MIAA. And now, when you take a look here, Truman, when you take a look here, they have 4 or 5 wide receivers. They spread the field. They haven't established their running game right now. This will be their first home game. They've had a week off, so they're going to be extremely rested. And they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game rather than Northwest, which has only had 1. This will be a close game, unlike people think.
All right, yeah, it's a lot closer when you look at the history of everything than if you just look at the last 2 games or the last couple of seasons. So let's take a look at the sleepers. There's 5 sleepers that if they're not All-American right now, you think that they will be.
They have a chance to at least be All-MIAA, if not All-American this upcoming season. When you take a look at the full screen here, what you see Kari Williams from Washburn. He's 6'2", 185. He's actually as good as Fletcher Terrell, which is the All-American cornerback on the other end of their team. Then you have Adam Hinspeeder, the quarterback from Missouri Southern. I talked to his coach, Bart Tatum. He says that he is something special. They have over 500 plays in the playbook. And in spring ball, he was just picking it up like that, calling audibles like a Peyton Manning. He's 6'5", 210, and he was MIAA Freshman of the Year last year. Other guy you have is cornerback Geoff Tisdale from Pitt State, 6'1", 175. He's a transfer from California, and he had some D1 offers from Michigan State, Nebraska, and Washington as well. Now, Seville Adams is a native here. He was from Belton, and unfortunately right now he's only at 187 yards and 2 TDs, but in a couple of weeks he will pick that up, and he should reach over 1,000 very quickly. And then lastly, you have the tight end Robertson from Missouri Western. A lot of people like to talk about Northwest's Mike Peterson, but this guy will end up being All-MIAA.
Well, Seville Adams, that's why he's a sleeper, because he doesn't have all the yards yet. All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by. I feel smarter. I don't know. I hope you do at home. All right, well, timeout time here on Metro Sports. So many people